On the checklist points, there's that Excel sheet that everyone's on. That's where basically Kira and Robin have been the MVPs, basically taking care of getting the documentation and finding out that there's quite a bit of nuances to a number of the checklist points that make it very difficult to get the application in. But right now, assuming we get everything, I've been conservative on the points totals, and we're hovering right now around 137. The big issue that we're foreseeing is going to be priority actions. Because of the priority actions kind of situation, we have to validate with NYSERDA whether or not what Bob has done in terms of the GHG inventory actually does qualify because they have a NYSERDA process and template and format that they want it in. So as long as NYSERDA gives the okay there, I do think we will be okay from that kind of a perspective. The other thing that Matt, did the call ever get scheduled with NYSERDA or
It was on my list of things to do, but honestly, I didn't get a chance to execute it. And then once we surpassed the deadline, I thought we had more time. So
all
rather
right,
than rush it, I just figured we'll get it done. It's on my list of
cool,
things to do though this week.
cool. So basically, we'll
So
go.
is that call to kind of validate whether the GHG inventory will qualify?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
it's for that, and it's to look into whether the electric vehicle charging stations, the one that Tesla owns, but it's in the town, available for the product public, will qualify. It does say town-owned infrastructure has to qualify for it, so I doubt we're gonna get that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we're gonna push and see where NYSERDA is gonna provide us leniency versus isn't. Like, is Granite Knolls, can we call that as COVID delayed? Does that qualify, or is approval from a town's perspective enough? Because we can't control construction delays or construction timelines. So effectively, right now, the whole focus is to go through the entire application, make sure that NYSERDA kind of gives us an A-OK from their side, so that we're pushing forward here with a successful application from the get-go,
Smirnoff, can
with
you,
no
I don't
issues.
mean to interrupt, but so can you do the 20th, Tuesday the 20th at 11?
20th?
Tuesday the 20th at 11 a.m.
Yes, that works.
Robin?
Boy.
I didn't realize it. It's just like a link she sent out for us just to sign up on the using her calendar, which is pretty cool.
Yes, that's fine.
Kira, you good?
Yep.
Assuming we don't have one of our masterful.
Yeah, vaccines.
Yep.
Yep. I'm free right now.
Okay. So I'm gonna
But
put everyone in on this. No problem.
cool. So basically, in terms of checklist, we're obviously gunning for the next one. The next action item is obviously for us to get bronze cert at this point is to get an NYSERDA A-OK. Whatever happens from that conversation is going to dictate how quickly we need to turn other things around. From a social media perspective and community engagement thing, Bob obviously did an awesome job on that last presentation, and I think we need to continue to push forward on different kind of monthly educational webinar stuff that we run as a task force. And obviously, we don't want to put all the brunt on Bob to build the content and do the presentations there as well. Maybe guest presentations and things like that as well could play in here. But that's definitely something to think about, and obviously looking into other priority actions, because I do believe for us to get to silver, we are going to need 6 priority
So Swornoff,
actions.
before we go to silver, if we go back to bronze for a sec, can we
Sure.
just confirm, other than what you mentioned, I mean, which items are, is it not clear whether we've qualified or not? And is there extra work that we can be doing, can and should be doing now to kind of shore that up, understanding that we're moving towards the July 1st deadline?
Yeah. So from that perspective, there really isn't much on the town side. Most of the certification points do have small issues as it relates towards, well, is the solar system installed? Is the LED streetlights done? Are you advertising a cooling center? How was the town involved in supporting local what are they called? I'm blanking on what
Farmers
they're called.
markets?
Farmers markets, right? So thank you. But basically with these kind of things, we just need to verify that NYSERDA is okay with, the town has approved everything and has done everything from their side to qualify, though the system might not be installed as of today. It's in the contractor's hand. We're continuing to push with it, but will that qualify under NYSERDA's guidelines? So it's really just presenting every single one on that checklist item and seeing if NYSERDA pushes back on where it's at right now. And I think Kira and Robin have done a pretty good job of noting down the potential issues in red
Yeah, I
or
see that.
notes. So I think that one sheet is basically going to be the document of truth as it relates to questions or nuances that come up in terms of getting bronze certification. But it doesn't seem like there's much other than from the town side even. We have the points, we've done all the actions, we've done everything that's listed here, but it may not hit NYSERDA's requirements in a way that they want it, and we want to see how strict they are on this kind of on this application.
Okay, and they're
So-
willing to do that kind of preliminary run through and
Yes.
kind of give us feedback.
Correct.
That's excellent. Okay.
Right. And that way, at least it gives us enough time to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, let's do blah or do this and just find a resolution because we've taken the actions. It's now just a matter of, can we file the paperwork such that NYSERDA will agree that we have in fact done the right things here. Because there's plenty more that we can come through on the
Mhm.
pipeline.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's on bronze. But as it relates to getting to that next stage, and more importantly, I'm not worried as much about points, surprisingly, as much as I am about the priority actions. So making a jump into
Yeah, so
the
let's talk
priority
about
action
that.
side for silver, I believe it was the energy audits. Getting that done by a NYSERDA contractor. Matt, I don't know if there's anyone, I think people have approached you about free audits. If we could get that queued up, it will help with not only making this application potentially more robust, as well if NYSERDA comes back and puts their foot down saying, no, it has to be done blah, blah, blah way. The good thing about what Bob's done, his data may just need to be formatted to NYSERDA's liking, which unfortunately is just or fortunately or unfortunately is a function of time, not really a function of paperwork and waiting. But if we get a free energy audit done through a NYSERDA contractor, then that would bring in a priority action. And there was another one which I'm completely blanking on. That
So
might be a
sworn
little
off
bit
to
low
see
hanging.
the priority actions. Do we need to go to the
The one
the
with
public
green
checklist.
color.
current points tracking one? The-
The current point, the submission tracker is where all of the application.
Right,
points-
I know, but that doesn't have a column for priority versus non-priority. I think
Correct.
that
The next one.
yeah, the current points tracking is the one I went to. And when you filter on column E, mandatory or optional, right, there are, whatever, 7 or 8, not,
I actually
think there
just
are
go to
8
the
priority
Smart
items.
website. That's how I'm finding it right now.
Okay, so there are 8 items that we have on our list as priority. And so how many priorities do we have to have?
I
6?
believe it's 6 for
That's for
for
silver though.
silver. Correct.
So do we have a
3.
challenge on bronze for priorities?
Only if NYSERDA gets onto the nuances of, oh well, you have to file it with this paperwork versus that paperwork, or do blah first versus this first. The actions have been taken from a town perspective. At this point, it's just purely about figuring out what NYSERDA wants to see in order to A-OK this. So for bronze, we should be good once the nice article is done. So for instance, the complete street policy, that's something I believe we have in the list. The what is it called? The energy audits for the government buildings, that will obviously be a good one. I believe we have some stuff in the pipeline right now as it relates to electric vehicle chargers. So that brings in yet another priority action if it doesn't come through for the bronze application. And there's potential opportunities as it relates to the comprehensive plan with sustainability elements. Because Robin, I believe you had mentioned that it expired literally months ago for it to qualify for the NYSERDA application. So there's those kind of things currently running that will probably be included in the silver application at this point. But as it relates to bronze, we're really just gunning to see what NYSERDA says as it relates to how they want to see the data or the application to be filed so that they can recognize the work that we've done as a town.
So for example, on complete streets, I mean, what are we presenting?
Robin has been collecting that information.
We have that in the overlay district. It would be stronger if we actually pass
Right, because that's not
the rest
enacted
of
yet.
it. No, it's actually listed in the front end of the overlay, which has been adopted.
Oh,
But
right, okay.
it's referenced more in the part that we're reviewing now, so it would be
Mhm.
stronger if we had that part also approved. But
The item that was approved like back in November, that kind of initial,
right,
yeah. Okay,
Cool. So yeah, that's the status of where we're looking at for bronze. Really, it's at this point the ball's in technically NYSERDA's court for us to figure out what we need to do so that we can be recognized for the actions we've taken. But other than that, we need to start thinking about silver as well. In terms of points, what kind of actions we want to really be targeting for that next stage as well. I wanted Kira and Robin to be on here just because of the bronze application side of things. If there's anything that we can do as a task force that might be able to help, any questions that you guys might have that we might be able to get someone on the team to help out with, if possible, if we can even.
Hey,
But,
Swarnoff,
yeah.
before we go to silver though,
mhm.
there was that other program through NYSERDA that we wanted to get.
yeah, I was gonna ask about that as well, the Clean Energy Committee.
Yeah, the clean energy program. So before we go to silver, is there enough in bronze to get us qualified for that other designation?
I haven't taken a look at that recently, but I will take a look into that to see if we do qualify for that. I'd imagine we would.
some of it overlaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for example, the first, I did take a look at it just before this meeting, and it looks like the lowest level is if you complete what they call 4 high impact actions. That entitles you to a grant of $5,000, which is not a huge amount, but
Cash is cash.
And so they give a list, and Bob had circulated this February 19th to the committee. It was forwarding information from Sustainable Westchester on all of the high impact items and what the points were. And it seemed to me that we would immediately qualify for 3 high impact actions, one being the unified solar permit, one being LED streetlights,
Pace
and
financing.
then the third one being community campaigns. They list 4 potential community campaigns you can do. Each of them is 200 points. And we've certainly done community solar as a community campaign. So that's 3 high impact actions. And then the other ones I thought that we might qualify for, Matt, I know on PACE financing, the town had taken some action before you took office, but I think we'd said it just hadn't been put in place or enacted.
Yeah, it wasn't fully enacted, but it is now, and we actually have the international school already took advantage of it. So they have a full approved project, financing, the whole bit. So that's all been put in place.
Okay, so that gets us to 4 high impact actions. The other one I thought of potentially, there was something around training, energy code enforcement training, which I figured would be a fairly simple thing to accomplish, right? As a training session. But yeah, if we have the PACE, then that gives us the 4, if you agree that we would qualify on the other 3.
I had their annual meeting last week. We were very much involved. We were very much in on that last piece.
Okay. All right, cool. And then the other, so that's the first tier, which is 5,000. And then if you start, then they look at points. So the first threshold is 3,000 points. And that would qualify you for a $10,000 grant as a small municipality, small to medium municipality, which is below 40,000 population. And unfortunately, that's where we're at, right?
We need
Yep.
3,000 more people. But Matt's working on that.
Right, just wait till all these developments get approved and we'll hit the level. If we hit 40,000, that $10,000 grant would go up to 30,000. So, but-
are there any restrictions on the money, Sarah? What you do once you get the grant? Because we could use that for the energy studies. Would that timing work out?
So there's a limited number of awards. I mean, for example, they say there's 40 grants per region. But I haven't read the details of what the stipulations are that the grant can be used for. But if we need to hit 3,000 clean energy community points, let's see, it looks like we're already at 1,800. And once we get certified as a climate smart community, that gives us another 800. So that's 2,600. And then there's really not much more to do. I mean, a big hitter is community choice aggregation. That's 2,000 points, up to 2,000 points right there. And we're already, at 1,800 points. So that would push us.
How's the town attorney doing on that? That's a question for Matt.
Yeah, no, I figured he's still he's working on it. We're hoping to bring it to a work session, if not by the end of the month, then in May. But I know that he was supposed to be connecting with what was his name, Doug? Is that his name? From Sustainable Westchester, who brought us that presentation.
Is that Dan Welsh?
Dan. Yes, I was close.
I figured a D.
Yeah, I was close. So, but that's
Okay.
what I'm saying on that.
But yeah, the biggest bang, the community choice aggregation is the biggest points, followed by stuff like clean fleets, benchmarking. The LED streetlights is worth 900 points. So anyway, it seems like, we should be focusing on hitting some of those thresholds as well.
Say it again. So you had the streetlights, because I'm trying to get an update for the last 2 weeks from NICEAG on their program. What was
Yeah,
the other?
so LED streetlights is worth 900 points
Yep.
of the 3,000 that we would need for a grant.
Mm-hmm.
CCA is up, it says up to 2,000.
Mm-hmm. The third one.
Clean fleets, if we, did that, is 1,000, but we don't qualify for that. But PACE financing is 500.
Okay.
Unified solar permit is 200.
Mm-hmm.
Do that.
And then community solar, community campaign is 200.
Got that.
And then it seems like we could do community campaigns on other topics as well, right? As we were discussing, we could do one on EVs. We can do one on clean heating and cooling and energy efficiency.
Could we
Each
do one
of
on,
those would give us 200 points each.
what about food scraps?
Don't see it on the list. But that, doing that would count towards climate smart community certification.
Yeah, because we got I think we're moving all that forward. I think they
Yep.
should have the order in for the toters, hopefully by the end of the week. And then
That's so exciting.
we're launching a logo contest, that we're going to launch as part of our Earth Day initiative. So we're trying to, and also an education component. So we're trying to move all that forward.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, since it was in the newspaper, I announced it at our Yorktown 100 meeting on Monday as well.
Yeah, toters, we've already got the vendor for the toters. I saw a PO yesterday, so that should be moving.
Oh, good. I have a question about silver certification. If we get the bronze, do those points automatically carry over to silver? You don't
Yes,
have to
That's the
redo them
understanding.
or update them?
Yeah, that's the understanding. If there's variable points, we can increase them for silver, but we don't have to start from zero again.
Okay, thanks.
but you do, once you are certified, you do periodically need to renew that certification.
But that's every 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that's we're in the final stretch of getting bronze at this point. So we're chugging along. Robin and Kira have been carrying the torch here from the town side. And
You're now unofficial members of the committee, both of you.
they deserve an award at this point. But yeah, with that being said, unless there's other questions, thoughts, it's really
two
just
things.
pushing forward on bronze.
Two things just to get on your radar.
Mhm.
I don't think the first one is a big CSE thing, but just so you're aware, we're going to be submitting the mayor's Monarch pledge for the Monarch butterfly piece. So just an FYI on that.
So Matt, on that topic, actually, Bedford, healthyyards.org in Bedford, it's a Bedford 2030 program, but it really covers all of Westchester, was looking for a contact that they could use for Yorktown.
Yeah.
I was thinking Greg Brown.
For what purpose? For the
Just, as a point of contact for people who want information about pollinator activities in
Yeah,
each
definitely.
municipality.
Yep, definitely Greg.
Okay, because there was somebody with the Garden Club of Yorktown, but they're no longer active. And
No,
so-
I'd go to Greg.
yeah, I
Greg-
sent him an email today, and
Yep.
okay.
Greg's the guy there. But so we are going to be putting that out there and launching that. And then the second thing, the JV Mall, it's three things actually. The JV Mall has come to us about an potential EV charging partnership that they're looking to bring, which could be cool. There are some code issues that we have to go deal with, which we can go deal with. But
Hi, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth definitely supports it. So just that's going to be coming down the pipe probably in the next
Hi, Charlie.
4 to 6 weeks. Had everybody? Probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then the last thing, just to let you know about, there was the Croton Overlook proposal, housing proposal.
Mhm.
As of today, they withdrew their application to the zoning board. And it's my understanding that they're going to be pursuing a solar project there now instead of a housing project.
That's much better.
So,
I've walked that property a few times. Many of the houses they planned are really close to the power lines, which I
Yeah.
think is not a good idea.
yeah, so just, Robin, I don't know if I'm telling trade secrets, but
No, I got the application today too.
yeah, okay.
You
So
sent both
they
emails.
they filed the application today?
Yep, she sent me an email right after
Great.
she sent the other one.
Yeah,
So-
that is good news because it should, depending on what the plan is, have less of an environmental adverse impact, right, than building a bunch of houses.
Right.
And then
So,
plus the benefit it's putting into the electric grid,
yep.
right, in terms of renewable.
Yep. So just so you're aware of all those things that are going on, but obviously they fall into your realm.
Yep.
From a renewables and a CSC standpoint.
And on the JP Mall, it's really a win-win to have chargers at shopping centers, right? Because you want
Yeah,
people to be able to go into the mall
yeah,
and do their shopping. And
it's a cool concept because it's free,
Mhm.
believe it or not. And the way it's free, the way the concept is being explained is that they get their free. It's okay. It's okay. Free service to I'm sorry guys. Free. Okay. You want to come up? Okay. Here. She doesn't want to be left out.
She's as concerned about the planet as every
Yeah.
other young person.
You can't yell if you're gonna see. So free service is based on on advertisements, and so we just need to figure out because it doesn't really fall into because it's a digital sign. It doesn't really the code it doesn't speak. No, please don't touch that. Doesn't speak to from a regulation standpoint. So we're going to be having to work on that
Mhm.
in order for them to be able to implement it. But it's a cool thing. I think that obviously I would hope the task force would support it. And I think that the town would be very supportive of it as well. So we'll see. But
Yeah,
that's-
absolutely.
hoping to have a presentation in front of the board in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Matt, how big a farm is that they're proposing?
Robin, you would
Croton Overlook.
want to take a look real quick? You know, it's 2 words. It's hi and nan. Those are the 2 words.
Oh, and
I
Dada.
hear the hi.
And dada.
No, Dada. There's no mama.
Oh, come on. I'm sure she's saying mama.
No, no, no.
Not yet.
She's over. You hear that? Silly baby.
She's keeping you in suspense, Kelly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. They always say mama last, don't they?
Mhm. M's a harder to form.
Stop saying it.
It's a
How big?
3.75 megawatts.
3.75 megs. And that actually, I don't know if anyone watched the town board meeting last night, but we did talk about the fee schedule a bit because one of the things that we've figured out is that oh, she just said mama.
I heard her.
And there's a lot of witnesses here.
And it's recording too.
Yeah.
Got it. But one of the things that was brought to our attention that led to a whole rabbit hole exploration is that we haven't updated the master fee schedule since we passed the solar law. So the solar fees are not properly reflective. Case in point, I think they were, Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but IBM was looking at something like $500,000 just in permitting fees based off of the
Building department calculations, right?
building department calculations, right? So we passed the law, but we still have fees that are frankly are prohibitive and some of the highest in the nation. We're being told when it comes to the actual implementation. So that's something that we're gonna have to take a look at.
Mhm.
General question for everybody. In the bronze, silver, maybe gold certification, is there anywhere for points where we, on new construction developments, where we implement a green you know, and I think we've talked about this in the past about, you know, changing our laws or incentivizing builders to put some sort of green component to their projects. Is there anything in point certification that would help that? You know, that would gain us points if we pass those kind of laws and incentivize, because we have, you know, you have 2 projects in the hopper, or one decent sized one, I guess.
I think the only thing that could possibly qualify for it, Keith,
Mm.
is one of the innovation factors that they put in, but that's worth 3 points. That's where I'm assuming the battery storage legislation is going to fall under, because I didn't see any other area to put it. But if that kind of legislation went through, I think it would only qualify for about 3 points, unfortunately.
That's interesting. Yeah. So there's no green building certifications or anything like that. at the town?
I'd be surprised. I mean, I'm sure
Mm.
you have it in front of you, sworn off, but you know, buildings are such a significant source
Mm,
Oh yeah.
of energy
consumption,
usage.
right, yeah.
And so kind of getting those buildings in compliance is a big savings in terms of the environment. So I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if it's not somehow
But
incented.
isn't like adopting New York stretch code part in there?
Good. Yeah, the stretch code gets your points. That's something that Robin and I sat on a tutorial for. You know, the other thing that's in
Oh,
that
the stretch code is part of the clean energy community as well.
it is.
Ah,
It is.
good.
But that's something that we can take a, you know, if you guys want to explore that a bit, we can definitely take a look at. It was a pretty comprehensive dialogue on the code.
Yeah,
the
I'm not familiar with what that stretch
So
code is.
so I'm actually going to walk back on what I just said.
Okay.
There is a green building certification, which means if local governments, it's for the government buildings. If we can get our government buildings to Energy Star or LEED certification, and then there's Green Globes and Living Buildings, but LEED and Energy Star being the 2 popular ones, there is 15 points for it. Though I still don't see anything as it relates to making a town policy related thing. But there is incentives for turning the government buildings into a green building and then getting it certified as well.
So let's see, because we're supposed to get our facilities assessment back from Cushman Wakefield in May. So there may be, and I'm gonna have to jump because I have to swap with Kelly. She's got Lions Club. But there's a, but we'll see what that facility assessment comes back on. It may lead us, you know, to, I'm sure they're going to provide some energy efficiencies. You know, we've been talking about boiler replacements, you know, and we had Windstar go in and do an assessment of those boilers as well from an engineering standpoint. And, you know, the police department and courthouse boiler, the Capellini Center boiler and the town hall boiler are all past their useful lives. So we definitely can get some, I don't know if it's points, but we can definitely improve our efficiencies, our energy efficiency with new state-of-the-art boilers.
Which ultimately is going to save the town money.
Absolutely, yeah,
So
right. So those are all things that we're looking at, but we're waiting to see what the Cushman Wakefield report comes back on, because they did look at town hall as well. So we just want to fold them all in together.
So yeah,
are they
just,
charging for that assessment? I assume they are, right?
Cushman Wakefield, yeah, that was
Yeah,
an RFP we put out. Yep.
Okay.
So just because I'm looking through the checklist right now while everyone's going on it. It's again one of those, I think, gray areas because it's not directly what you were mentioning, Keith. There is a thing called green building codes right underneath the New York stretch goals, which kind of sounds like that, which applies to commercial buildings, multifamily, 2-family, and multi-family high-rise residential buildings. So it's 6 points total. But it doesn't seem like it's directly what was being mentioned of you must include a green component or sustainable component in it. They do have a linked law, so I will share that with everyone. Or if you want to note it down by yourself, it's 6.4. on the checklist.
Can you send it over to me?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, and that may be an interesting thing to put in some way, when we think about things like the overlay districts and whatever,
Right.
are there incentives where, again, because you're putting in these green buildings that, you can give some accommodation to the developer, in something else, whether it's density or whatever.
Right.
Right,
I-
because
Robin,
again, it's,
We had LEED and we had Energy Star already in there, right? That's already
Mhm.
built into the overlay.
Yep.
Yep, we already have that language in.
okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not,
That's
I
why I
don't think it's
said-
been circulated around to the residents to see yet.
Yeah,
so.
no, but there could be more, that obviously if we find more that we want to include, I mean, that's what we did identify specifically LEED and Energy Star as two components that we push.
Great.
Cool. I'll send
hate
over the.
I hate to run, but I got to jump so I can tag team with Kelly here so she can go to her meeting. But
Understood.
hope everyone has a good night. Thank you so much as always, and we'll see you guys in a month. In the meantime, if you have questions, we can keep the conversation going between now and then. So let me know what it is that that we need to do. Okay.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Matt.
Thank you.
Stuff, everyone.
Thanks, Robin.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sworn off, anything else you wanted to talk about?
CSC related? Probably not.
Okay.
So
The overlay district law is on the town website.
Oh, it is, because I'd looked under pending legislation.
And it says Article 31 of Section 30. However, that is it. So I guess they didn't write overlay district in the title, but
Okay, because I checked a couple days ago and I didn't see it, but
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
All
I
right.
should just add that because it doesn't specifically say that's what it is.
So, excuse me, does it or doesn't it ask for green buildings?
It does give incentives for LEED and Energy Star elements being incorporated. Yes.
What kind of incentives?
Let's see. Let me just
If you
go
don't
back.
know, it's okay.
No, it's all in there. Just want to make sure it was the right section I was thinking of. Priority of application review and agenda placement, enhanced staff guidance, additional staff meetings, relief from area and bulk requirements, parking requirements, upon demonstration that you have proximity to downtown pedestrian access, public transportation. In the event the applicant agrees to make infrastructure improvements that benefit the town to an extent greater than what is required, the planning board may grant additional density, area, or bulk requirements, incentives. And in the event an applicant
I
provides.
just put it in the chat, Robin.
Oh, real property, they can get more, also can get more density, area, or bulk requirements.
Okay, so yeah, right along the lines of
Well, that's why I
what
said
I was
that
suggesting.
if this part of the legislation was adopted, it would be
Mhm.
stronger because that's where it lists all that stuff. Whereas the
Mhm,
front
mhm.
was just enabling legislation to actually have overlay districts.
Right.
Oh,
And
okay.
it seems like the timeline would be such that we could, it seems as though the overlay district concept has been, it's out for comment now with the agencies, right? It's going to come back to the town board, either later this month or whatever. I assume there'll be, hearings on it in May, and then it could be passed in June, right?
It could be quick,
Yeah.
that quick. I mean, it would also be helpful because I don't know. I've only heard negative things. It seems like at town board meetings about the overlay district. There's not a lot of people saying any, positives.
Well, I
So
think that, not to digress.
we didn't have a hearing yet. People are just
Right, right,
talking
right.
courtesy of the floor. So
Right. I think there's been a lot of, just feedback on the inclusion of Sound View
mhm.
and Underhill Farms. I've gone on record multiple times saying I think the whole DDOZ concept is great. Just
Right,
take
right.
Sound View.
But we haven't, we haven't actually had a hearing.
yeah.
So if we have a hearing, it'd be nice, to actually hear someone talk about these other things that make it really
Yep.
good.
Yeah. All right, good. Keith, anything else? Or
I think I'm good.
okay. And then again, Kieran and Robin, since you've been kind of in the trenches, are there any particular topics that we can help with where you think, we're not quite there and we need to do some more legwork?
I don't know about that right now. I mean, like there was some of the folders, like when I asked you the questions for the community repair,
Mhm.
there was other things that, they had asked for that list and stuff. So, and that made it stronger. And then I took all the pictures and things that you had and I made them one document,
Mhm.
one PDF that can be uploaded. So if there's anything you're working on and, throwing 30 pictures in a folder or whatever, if you could actually put them into a Word file or something and make them a PDF so that it's like more of something we could use right away without having to spend the time to create that part.
Yeah,
I
for
think the
example,
community repair thing I finished because I thought we were doing it by the end of the week, but
right. But for example, we're having another one in 10 days and everybody's signing up online already. So we have a record of all the
Good, good.
attendees, what they're bringing, all that. So we can just, print it out,
we'll
make a
have to
PDF and
update it.
Yeah.
What I did was I hid the column with the people's names. So before I converted it to PDF.
hmm yeah, and I'd already hid the names with their email and their phone numbers.
But I have a running document for like in the social media folder. It's a Word file that has, I went through the entire our town's Facebook account and screen captured every post.
hmm
And I have categories. So you'll see, like Sustainable Westchester. And then I put whatever we had for that for the two events. And I went through a bunch of those. So that's in Word. So, I know, do you have a group or something?
And
Or
that's
a
in the
separate
Google
page on
Drive,
Facebook?
right?
Yeah, that's in the Google Drive. It's
Okay.
the last folder at the bottom.
Okay.
If anyone else, I didn't know if you guys had a Facebook group or page that was separate or that you were adding, or it was just town that we were adding to. But if anyone sees anything that I missed or that comes up, you could just paste it in there.
Does the town cleanup get us any points?
The Battle of Yorktown.
Yeah,
I can take a look into it.
I did put those posts in here. I have Tree City USA. I put bulk trash pickup, e-waste. I was just paging through the Facebook page. Anything I thought had any applicability, I just was pasting it on this page. And it shows, I did Instagram too. And when Matt did Facebook Lives. So I tried to get as many things, all the farms I put in there.
Yeah, I actually used the town of Yorktown page on farms in a presentation that I gave to Yorktown 100 on Monday, because you had all those nice links to each of the different 7 or 8 farms in Yorktown and just pulled content.
Yes, those were all updated for the farm weekend. So
yeah, that was really cool. What was I going to say? Oh, the comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
So I know we're pulling content from that, in
Wow.
support of CSC.
Yes and no. So that's what Swornoff was saying, was that like it's more than 10 years old.
Well, that's what I was
So
gonna ask
that's-
about. So can we, I know it was a huge initiative to begin with, but, is there kind of a light, kind of quick and dirty update that maybe a committee could work on?
Matt
to
has
kind of-
talked about that, but I was thinking if maybe we did something that was a sustainability plan or something.
Because that's really
Because
the relevant piece of it without touching all the other.
yes, and you can tell the time period in which we did the comp plan because of what's not in there. I mean, it was started in 2002,
Right. Even though it was adopted in like 2010,
2011.
it had
Right.
it had been in process. For 9
Yes.
years.
So when I went looking for things and I'm like, we weren't even thinking about that then, so and then you can tell because like Cortland's did their plan and it was actually called a sustainability plan too.
Yeah, I've
And it was
seen
like
their plan.
2016.
Mhm.
So it was that much more advanced into looking into all these issues that now, you guys are looking into and that would have been included had, we done it now. But like you said, I think that would make more sense to do that kind of plan and not it redoing the entire, or updating the
Oh,
whole comp
yeah.
plan would just get you into a whole mess of other issues that don't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, agreed. So do you think it would just be an initiative to update the sustainability components that are in the plan, or just do something kind of totally separate, but maybe lifting the content that's in the comprehensive plan, updating it, and then just repackaging it as a sustainability plan for the town?
The latter, because I think you would take whatever happens to be in there
Because there are things like natural resource inventory and things like that.
and then either update those things that were in there and then expand and
Mhm.
add all the stuff we're doing now.
Yep. Paul, what do you think about that? I don't know if you were.
I just had a thought. Just get the town board to rename it. Comprehensive and Sustainability Plan.
No,
Well,
but the issue is that it's more than 10 years old. And
Well, but
and
if
so
you
for
if you rename it and readapt it, it's up to date.
right, but that's just not going to happen right now with all the people talking about the land use and the economic development chapters and like
that's a whole
I just don't see that-
controversial can of
right.
worms that you don't even want to open up,
okay.
I think.
I went to all those meetings. the comp plan.
yes.
All of them.
I figured you probably did, Paul. But yeah, maybe that's an initiative that we could take on, and maybe it's just partnering as well with, the conservation board or whatever, to get their input just into a separate sustainability plan.
Right. I mean,
that makes
we have a
sense.
conservation board, the open space committee,
The tree
commission.
advisory commission. Yeah, those are the 3 groups that I thought of: tree commission, ACOS, and conservation.
Do we think it's worthwhile to try and schedule a call with Matt to discuss the sustainability plan and see what he believes might be the best way forward to think about renewing that at a later time?
Well, maybe we could develop a proposal to present.
Do you think like an initial call? Because I was thinking along the lines of how do we produce a proposal without knowing what the best course of action would be to renew that comprehensive plan? Do you agree?
Well, I think, I mean, I feel fairly comfortable. I mean, I'm familiar with Cortland's sustainability plan, for example. And, for us to take what's in the current comprehensive plan and remodel it and update it to match something closer to that, I think we could do with some input from some of the 3 other committees.
Okay, so
I was
you
gonna
do those-
ask him about it anyway, just because, like, I know he wants to update the comp plan.
Mm-hmm. But
But
if we
when
could
I
do
was
it in
going through
chunks.
it, trying to find this stuff and not finding most of it, then I was like, this, I think we want to do this quicker, we should do it separate.
Right, and to the extent we have gaps, we might as well flesh
Right,
out
right.
all those elements.
So what about, let's do I think a 15-minute briefer with Matt, because we know how busy he is. Maybe let's get that on the phone with him, keep it to 15, 20 minutes of his time, see what he thinks we should go back and put together. And Sarah, since you're the most familiar with the other towns' comprehensive plans or sustainability plans, then we can use that knowledge that you gathered to put together a proposal based on what Matt thinks is the best way forward to propose this to the town.
Okay,
Is-
or
is
just
that
let
fair?
Robin have the have the conversation with Matt and then
Sure.
get back to us
to
with
you.
the yay or nay, go ahead or not.
Sure, no, the only reason I was saying is 15 minutes with me, you, or whoever else wants to join, including Robin, is because you said you had a proposal route, so I was just thinking it'd be productive rather than making it a message train. That's all. Cool.
Yeah,
So
I'm
let's
happy to do that as well. That's fine.
sweet. So let's unless there's anything else, then I can put us on a thread if that's easiest with Matt regarding the comprehensive plan, and we can rock and roll from there and see if, I mean, if we can get it done by the submission deadline, which I think is unrealistic, but hey, anything is possible these days. So if we're able to pull that off, then hoorah. If not, then let's start to gun for that sustainability plan in silver certification, and I guess we'll all be interfacing via email anyways.
Yep, sounds good.
Cool. Anyone else? Otherwise, we can call it here.
Otherwise, we're finishing 4 minutes early.
Hey, that's a
Terrific.
win. An extra 4 minutes to go to dinner. But all right, I will see all of you guys either sooner, or I will see you all in a month.
All right.
Okay.
Alrighty, everyone.
All right,
Thank you so
thank
much
you.
for hopping on.